Hello and welcome to Nintendo Voice, your voice for everything Nintendo. This is episode 131, recorded on the 13th of March, 2017. My name's Lewis Pugh, and joining me to talk all things Nintendo, we have a Harrison Milfeld.
Hello, world. I got demoted from hosting duties, apparently, so it was short-lived. But Lewis is back.
Yes, Lewis is back. There was no discussion had. I just assumed I was back in hosting duties. And we have a Colin Crompton.
We do. Hello, yes. Yeah, Lewis is back in the hosting chair. And you said 2017. It's not 2017 anymore.
I was so focused on some numbers that I forgot.
Yeah.
It's from the past. Hello, everybody.
Yes, we're back. We have all these Switch games. Yeah, we have all these Switch games in advance. Guess what? There's a new Metroid Prime game coming out.
We don't know that yet. Don't break the continuity. That would be weird doing a historical podcast, but no, it is 2018. Despite my ramblings earlier, it is the 13th of March though, and we've had a Nintendo Direct.
Yay.
We have lots to discuss, some cool game announcements, lots of ports, and support for multiple systems. But before we get into that lovely goodness, of course, we got some what we've been playing. When we don't have a super topic this week because we do have a Direct, and Directs and E3s obviously do take priority, unfortunately, over super topics, as super as they are. And so we're going to jump straight into some what we've been playing. And Harrison,
Yes.
what have you been up to?
A lot, really. I've been gaming on two mobile devices. Well, actually, my smartphone and, of course, my 3DS. Which do you want to learn more about first?
First, I want to hear about the smartphone because I can see the name of the game, and I am very curious to hear your findings on it.
Okay, well, the game I'm playing on mobile right now is one that I had not heard about until I heard of an episode on, I think it was like Player One Podcast or NBC, where it's called a Part-Time UFO, and it's made by HAL Labs. So it's their first ever mobile game they actually have done, and the goal of the game, the prospect of the game is that you're this little tiny, UFO that crashes on Earth, and to also realize your own new lifestyle on Earth, you have to pick up these certain type of jobs, and it's kind of like a crane game essentially. So you're going through different like each of these different levels that you're picking up things to place or stack on top of each other, and these have to be stacked whether it's certain height or balance, or you have to, it has that same bit of goofy charm that most HAL games have, and it's the same design is not really far off from what we've seen in the past. And I mean, even in the front screen, the main screen of the game, I think you can see QB in the background, which I found is a nice little touch.
That's a nice little touch, yeah.
I know. But this costs it's available on iOS and Android, and it only cost me about $4. But the one thing, there's two control options for this. As I'm holding up my phone here, what basically would happen to it is, like, if I'm holding my phone, there's two options where you can either be holding it like so with both your hands, or just one-handed.
Okay.
So what's the difference?
Well, second hand, like if you're holding it like with two hands, though, you have like a fake controller stick on the bottom, which you use to rotate, and then of course you have a release button or a capture button to use the crane to grab these items. Whereas if it's one-handed, which I did try out, thinking like, okay, I feel a little bit comfortable. But then I went back to two-handed because I had trouble, when you use one hand, you tap to drop your crane. Right. And of course, then you tap again to release. There have been many times where and I accidentally let go of my thumb on the screen because I need to actually know a bit of a placement. So I've switched back. But it's surprisingly difficult. I mean, the first few levels of this game were essentially a tutorial. It just gets harder way after that. There's a level called where you're stacking a group of, and I'm not joking. You are grabbing you are grabbing, and that sounds very weird when I say this right now for a UFO. You're grabbing and stacking a group of cheerleaders for a pose, and it's way harder than it looks. It really is. And
what's the intent here? Why are we grabbing cheerleaders?
Because they're asking you, like, hey,
how?
you're okay. I guess they just asked this little UFO to say, like, hey, our cheerleaders are just not putting in the right poses. So please, how about you just pick up your big crane, grab them under their wheel, and stack them.
So you stack them into like the shape they would have trouble jumping into, as it were.
Essentially, yeah, because like you have to go through the mat, like because obviously it's a parallel up right here. So as you're moving like left to right, you will be finding different like cheerleaders and their little poses and stuff. One or either doing splits. And for a while, I was thinking like, okay, I gotta place these in the same like right way. And when you pick up these items though, and you feel like it's done, it becomes this is where the difficult part is, because a lot of the momentum of these things when you're picking up, it starts like like any type of like small little object like this UFO, and you're picking up a bigger object, you're going to be swinging wildly. So there were times where I knocked over my stat. So I pick up this one cheerleader, and the whole stack of cheerleaders goes crumbling down, and my timer runs out, and I'm like, well, yeah.
That sounds like an exercise in frustration. That sounds maddening.
There's that, and then like there's a circus level where it has like this elephant, which has you have to balance animals on it. So each end of the circus tent is that you have to grab animals and put them on each one to, weigh it out and make sure they don't fall off. And one of the bonus things that you have to do is you have to stack 2 turtles on top of each other on one segment. So there were times where I'm like, okay, I think I can stack it on this side, but no, they all go careening off one side. There's a lot to this, but I said, like, if you like everything when it comes to HAL Labs, this is really, I mean, it's not going to light the world on fire, but it's a really nice little premium title for especially $4.
It sounds mental.
Sounds intriguing. I mean, what I quite like about it, I mean, one, it just sounds like a fun game, but 2, it's quite a novelty nowadays to pay like a small price, but up front for a smartphone game, and then not to have any microtransactions or ads or anything else.
Yeah, because they could have easily made this free to play and just like you pay for like tries.
Oh no. Thankfully that's not the case. But you can dress up your little UFO, kind of like how you do with QB, like with different outfits. Like mine right now has like a beanie and a little scarf.
Nice.
So it's almost like a semi hipster UFO.
Hipster UFO.
Semi hipster UFO. I think I might be downloading this after the show.
I'm sending you through the group chat right now what this thing looks like, so to look at, and yeah, there you go. have fun.
I gotta take a look at this. This is gonna be awful.
I need to see everybody's reaction to this, please.
I need to move my window over. Exciting stuff.
Oh, there's a video, but if you want to see the video now or later, but I mean, I can move on to my next game.
If it's a video, we'll skip that for now.
Yeah, that's to say.
Let's move on to what's next.
Yeah, and I won't talk too much about it. It's a game that I've had on my back burner on my 3DS is Azure Striker Gunvolt 2, which I did download about early 2017, and I just never did pick it up and play it. I guess because that's right in the middle when the Switch came out, and I just kind of threw everything that I was playing on my 3DS to the side. So
So this is on the 3DS.
Yes, it's on the 3DS, but it's also the collection is on the Switch now.
Yes, because I've played the collection.
So I mean, this was the sequel to this originally did release first on the 3DS in like fall of 2016. The one thing I really like about this is knowing that the whole concept of using like gunvolt in this case to shoot and tag enemies and use your lightning bolt, like your bolt force field, whatever I'm forgetting the name, just to destroy enemies. To me, that was a bit of a mechanic I thought I liked from the first game that I was very intrigued by. That kind of and it was a game that obviously by Entity creates. Same people did Mega Man 9 and 10. I believe they're doing 11. I could be wrong. And of course, it did have a bit of Mega Man vibes to it. So that's something that kind of really that drew me a lot to it. And this one though, you can play as 2 different characters. You can play as Gunvolt or Copen, which is basically a bounty hunter-esque scientist, human character. This one,
bounty hunter scientist.
Yes. Sold. Yeah, and you can, when you split up your file, you can actually play as either or. So, so that's where it comes to it.
So does Copen feel much different?
He's a lot of fun to play as. I really do. But I kind of go back more to Gunvolt a lot more because it's just, I don't know, I'm more comfortable with that one. But But still, I mean, that you can get a lot of like fun with, like with his dash moves and how he actually maneuvers through platforms. I mean, to me, that's one of my best parts about it.
All right, I've got a question for you, then, Harris. Have you finished the first Gunvolt?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I'm currently, well, I say currently, I've not played it in some time, but I've got to a point where I'm in a lift and I'm fighting the previous bosses.
Oh, okay.
Is that near the end of the game?
Yes.
It's gotta be.
Yeah. No, like in any type of game of that like the size, when you have to do a boss rush, it's nearly near the end of the game. But also, I think it is. I believe that level is a little bit forgiving, because I remember when I played it thinking like if I would have died during one of the boss rushes, I would have to start over. But thankfully, I think it starts you over that one boss. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Unless they've patched it since, that's definitely not the case for me. Whenever I would die, it would be at the very beginning of that mission, fighting the first boss again.
Okay.
I think it has had a patch since, and it might. I've got a feeling now that maybe that had something to do with it. I could be completely wrong. It's probably just my failings.
That does sound brutal. Do a boss rush where if you say you go all the way through to the last boss in that boss rush section, and you died. Yeah, of course I died. I went through a struggle like several other bosses.
Yeah, you don't get healed up or anything in between.
Exactly. So like,
well, no, and that's the thing. Unrelated to that, well, somewhat related to it, is like that's one thing I kind of appreciated when the final boss of like Xenoblade Chronicles, which by the way I did finish a couple weeks ago. And again, phenomenal anything like that. I can't believe it took me this long to actually play and finish that, and I adored X, but this one I loved more for its story. It was at least convenient with its different forms and its boss battle. So if I got frustrated, like with whatever, it's like, okay, I finally got the first form done. Oh, I died in the second form. Don't worry, you just go straight to the second form.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was thankful. Like, I'm glad. The only bad thing I hate about that is that you're essentially when you go in that final area, you are stuck with the items you have. You can't leave.
Yep.
When you played Xenoblade Chronicles X, it was kind of multiplied to a point where you had to face the whole like the chamber, like whatever the place where you like part of the whole ship that came crashing on Mira. And if you died, you had to just go all the way back, and it was just super frustrating. And that was like the one thing I just hated about the game. But anyway, aside from that, boss rush mode in Zero Striker Gunvolt 2, I think they patched that or they didn't, but I just remember I got through it pretty easily, because I think either that or I just ranked up my character's stats so much where it was like, okay, I know these patterns of these bosses.
That's cool. Yeah, I should return, because I thoroughly enjoyed the game up to that point. And because I've got the collection, as it were, I've got 2 sitting there, which I've not even touched yet. So I might just, and you can steer me, in a different direction here, but I might attempt it again. And if I still have no luck in it, I might just jump to number 2 and go, well, I've done most of this now.
I will say though, that the story is nonsense. Really, I try to follow along, but like I just don't.
I don't get this. Mega Man games, then
There's this where it's trying to be very deep, but it's like I've seen better animes do this. But yeah, that's been what I've been playing.
That's awesome. Yeah, and thank you for reminding me I do own Gunvolt 2. I'm going to be checking out soon. I was quite surprised how good that game was.
I need to pick up the collection, because I've heard so many good things about the series. So yeah.
It's really, really smart. Take on that genre, really. Because at least from my perspective, it does feel different. It doesn't just feel like Mega Man. It does have like the whole mechanic of you holding that charge, and then afterward you release it, and then the shots go into the enemies.
Right.
That does feel very unique, and it's very satisfying to pull off, which is cool.
Cool.
And I'm going to jump into some games I've been playing, and I've been playing a fair bit, to be honest. So I've crossed some things off this checklist that I've been working on for a little while.
You have been playing quite a bit. I mean, knowing the photos that we saw from you in Bulgaria, testing out everything with the Switch on a lift, or a ski lift, and outside, I'm like, I would be having a panic attack if that was the case.
Just in case you drop it. Like, oh no.
I only did that on a particularly big and comfy ski lift, which it even has like a thing you can pull down, like a little shield, which would save you from the rain and such. But I had one, like it's a 6-man thing. I had one all to myself, and it's a long enough duration. It's like a 20-minute thing at least, maybe half an hour or so. Is that all right? I've got some time here. I can, and the way I did, I had to pack had the Switch without Joy-Cons in a pocket and like different Joy-Cons in different pockets. The essentials for skiing, basically.
You had to like reassemble it every time you want to play it.
Yeah, so I assembled it in the ski lift and I put it down to take a little peek in.
Wonderful.
In
So
terms
how does it play in the cold?
it's still working now, which I guess
that's good.
Is the test.
I'm glad Lewis is doing these stress tests of the Switch, like what it can handle. Yeah, okay.
I didn't deliberately just nudge it off the seat of the ski lift and let it, plummet like 20 foot into the snow below.
That would have been risky. Yeah.
That would have been a little risky. So instead, I've completed Doom. Which was a lot longer of a game than I was expecting.
Okay.
Single player campaign for Doom. Actually, I should double check my hours while I'm around.
Was it like 10, 12 hours or even a little longer than that?
I think a little bit longer than that.
Oh, really? Because original was not a long game at all on like PC.
No. I guess it depends how you do the episodes and such, but it's been a while since I've fully completed Doom. Usually I jump back into it and I just play like the first 3 levels and I go, I've had my fix.
Exactly.
So my Switch clock is saying that I've put in 15 hours.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, pretty substantial for a single player shooter nowadays. And it was fantastic. I had glowing impressions originally.
Okay.
And for me, this game just got better and better. Both leaning into its nostalgic roots, just pulling back a lot of enemies, just reimagined, just from the original Doom. Is like, you should see this coming. There's a clear pattern by now. But I see this creature. Oh, he's that guy. He looks so cool now. Yeah. And oh, look, he's destroying me. He's chasing me around here. And it is quite cool how even the big, towering, clumsy, enemies, they do find ways just to charge and jump and just be relentless. There is no place to hide, nowhere to run. And yeah, it's pretty crazy experience. The bosses turned out to be pretty cool as well. And they used more of a Nintendo classic style sort of encounters where we have some clear patterns.
I thought you was going to say
dodge,
I thought you was going to say the rule of 3. I was like,
it's probably there, but not as clear as that. But I mean, there's a lot of enemies which they have patterns to them, but it's just a matter of working out your own tactics. But some of the bosses are more clearly defined, where you have to dodge this thing or else you are going to die. Right. You're going to have to learn how to do this. And so yeah, cool moments like that. There's loads of interesting level design and platforming which works surprisingly well. There's certain places where I was just generally stumped in terms of the environment and where to go. And then when I worked it out, it wasn't like an annoying moment, it was just this corridor.
The Eureka moment. Oh, of course.
Yeah, it was actually. It's I have to just climb over this thing, and it's very smartly designed. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed Doom in the end. I'm glad I finished it, and I'm interested in seeing what the arcade mode is like, and if there's any sort of, or what sort of numbers interactivity there is on the online side, because it does have that whole component to it. I've not really touched.
Okay, so I have 2 quick questions.
Okay,
number 1, did you try the motion controls?
Yes.
How are they?
I really liked them. I mean, when it's quite cool, really, because I played it for probably the first, maybe third or so, maybe a bit less.
Okay.
When it didn't have motion controls as an option.
Right. That's right.
So I was getting used to that, which is probably the other way around for most people. And then they added the motion controls in, and then after that point, I was playing so much better because I've clocked so many hours into Splatoon now.
Thanks to Splatoon training.
It's paying off now into other Nintendo shooters, and it's weird to think the Switch version of Doom. One, it's the only portable version of it, and 2, it's the only version, as far as I'm aware, which supports motion control aiming.
I think you are right.
I mean, other systems have the tech to do it, but I'm pretty sure this is the only version of Doom which they put the option in, and it works really well. So it's good for the fine aiming, So you do your normal walking and aiming with the sticks, and then to try and get the headshot. And especially with a lot of these faster enemies, like even simple enemies like the imps in Doom, in this 2016 version, they will like jump on walls and they'll climb up, and they will really kind of deliberately like stay out of your reach. But it really helps with that motion assisting aiming. You can just kind of track them as they're going up a wall. And I was pulling off shots I wouldn't be attempting to with just the sticks.
That's cool. Okay. It's probably one of the few games I actually try motion controls, because everyone I've spoken to, like, oh, they're really good. I'm like, are they? Like, okay, I'll give them a go, I guess. Well, I should do. Okay, question number 2.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the soundtrack? Because for me, it's like I listened through a soundtrack because I was doing music for an episode of Into the Voice, and I was like, this soundtrack is a huge disappointment to me compared to the original Doom. I couldn't stand it. I was like, what do you think of the soundtrack of it?
I liked it. I mean, the reason I liked it is because it kept up with the pace of the gameplay.
Okay.
Like I probably it was fitting as such in terms of just normal going around the environment. But as soon as you get into these like combat encounters, and they're almost like these kind of wave based. They're not like caught out as such.
Yeah.
But you'll be locked into a room, and you have to defeat demons until you've defeated them all and fought. But the soundtrack just gets immense. It just in terms of like the butt rock, as it were, it's relentless, and it works with just the action on the screen. You're just going around chasing things with a shotgun. That's what I was
thinking, because if you listen to the soundtrack on its own, I was like, this doesn't sound that good. But imagine with the visual,
because it's such a fast game. Whether you're doing like the rocket launcher or a super shotgun or chainsaw or the BFG later, which is fantastic recreation of the BFG. It really is
amazing.
It is. It's a sight to behold, especially when you first get it. They you don't have to use it, but obviously you get the gun, and then the next big room you go into, there's a lot of enemies on that screen.
They're just like go nuts on these guys. It's like, okay.
And you could one shot of that BFG clears the room. It's a beautiful sight.
Okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, you don't get like a big prompt which says, "Oh, now use the BFG." This is how you fire it. But you know what to do. You know what to do.
Yeah, of course. Cool.
So yeah, that was fun. And yeah, I was surprised of how long that took, just because it's a quite fast-paced game in itself.
Oh yeah, knowing from like even from the first footage I saw from years ago, was it back in 2015 and up to then, even when it's downgraded 30 frames per second, that's one thing I just like. Like, this is very arcadey and just fast-paced action to it. It just feels so relentless that, yeah, even if you do have the butt rock involved with this one and just everything is kind of going, it just feels like everything's being thrown at you so much. You're just like having excuse the pun, a hell of a time.
You are. And it's a weird one, really, because like you get the gory kills and such, and they are brutal. But I think there's something about, just because you are fighting literal demons, it makes it more of just a fun experience than start questioning. Is it too much violence in this game? No, you're fighting actual demons. It's it's very clear cut here.
Is too much violence in this game,
despite how you dispatch them. But yeah, it's actually, I guess my last note I'll say is it's very minimalistic storytelling, but it is actually done rather well.
Okay.
And so your main guy, Doom guy, as it were, he never speaks.
I was going to say, does he have a name, and does he speak?
They don't mention his name. I'm pretty sure he does have a name.
Doom guy.
He never speaks. You never actually see his face.
Right.
But you see a lot of character from him, which is basically like him just smashing things and his desire to smash things. And so you're introduced early on with and I think it's trying to take in the mick out of Doom 3, where it's taking itself a bit too seriously. And you'll get these figures telling you what to do and where you need to go and how you have to do certain things.
I quite like Doom 3.
And he's they're talking you through this like delicate operation of removing these canisters and such.
Right.
And like he looks at it and pauses for a moment, and then he just starts smashing it with his foot.
One of my favorite images, I think, is a good GIF of I think it's only, I'm not sure if it's just a mod for the PC or if it's actually, I had to see is you will see Doom Guy holding like a little figurine which looks like one of those Funko Pop kind of things, whatever, but like a little bit mobile, and he like moves it around and then makes a little fist of it, and then he does a little fist bump, and he does the like the wave away. That's my sound of like waving away after a fist bump. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Big Hero 6, isn't it? Anyway, those little figures are in Doom. They're like one of the many secrets you can find. There's a bunch of those around. I think I only found a couple. But yeah, there's loads of secrets. But the other thing I was playing and managed to tick off is the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild DLC.
Oh,
I really need to get on that finally, and I have been lazy about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking the same, but I was also feeling a bit, almost a little underwhelmed by it, where I left off. Like, I enjoyed what I had played, which was basically, and I can't remember what it is by name, but the first sets of shrines you get is where you have the one-hit weapon.
Yeah.
And I actually enjoyed that bit, and I like those shrines, just because it felt different.
Hey,
and then I unlocked the kind of the, I'm not sure what it's called, but you get like it's not a shrine, it's not really a tower. Like
the monuments that you
you get 4 monuments in different locations around the world, and I found one of them, and you get 3 different pictures of different areas on the map, and you've got to figure out where they are. And I like struggled to find one, and I just kind of left it, and I only just returned to it. And so I found finding the actual shrines quite a challenge in themselves, and I didn't realize that was the point.
Right.
And when that clicked, I was having more fun with it, and going, actually finding these areas are puzzles in themselves.
Yeah.
But the actual shrines, again, they're all pretty good shrines.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot of just more Zelda content, essentially. But yeah, there are some of my favorite shrines are those DLC shrines. So it's really cool doing that. And I somehow forgot, but I mean, it was like the only detail we knew about this DLC from the get-go, that there is a new, in quotes, dungeon at the end of it.
Yes. It's okay. So thoughts on the new dungeon?
So you've beat the DLC, right, Colin?
I have beaten the DLC. Yes.
Well, in terms of not saying too much, like I guess comparing it to the other dungeons as such, I think it's up there.
Really?
Colin's disagreeing, but yeah, it had some clever puzzles. I was thinking, for whatever reason, it would just be smaller in scope, which it didn't feel like it was. If anything, I felt like it was a bigger one.
Yes, for me, that dungeon was a lot of busy work.
Okay.
And not so much like exploration. It's like here's one big room with a lot of stuff to do, so get to it. And it's like, okay, I've got to move this out, change this around, and you do a lot of stuff to do, like open up like one door. And it's like, okay, it's just a lot of little things you have to do. There's no, to me, there wasn't any big like progression moments in the dungeon for me. It was just like, just fix this, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I quite like how just kind of like mechanical it felt. Like a lot of the puzzles, you were like turning like these giant cog things, which would physically alter the rest of the dungeon, and like I kind of like that aspect of it. Like it looked like it would physically work in a weird way. I mean, not all of it, but a lot of it would. So I like that aspect of it. And then, without saying too much, I liked how that wrapped up. And obviously, after that, you get the Master Cycle 0, which we all knew was coming.
Mm-hmm.
That's worth just going for either way. I mean, it's good content anyway.
It's
but if you're struggling with it, just remember there's that Master Cycle 0, and it's fun to just use.
Do you not wish though that it could go a little faster.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there.
It's at a very its top speed is very leisurely. It's like this is it.
I kind of wish it's like the fastest thing in the game, right? It's faster than any horse, I imagine.
No, I don't think it is.
Oh, really?
I think if over a short distance, a horse is faster, but the horse has to recharge the spurs, otherwise you get thrown off. Whereas the bike can just keep on going. So I think for longer journeys, it might be quicker, but it doesn't feel very quick.
Oh well. Either way, I find it a lot easier to dispatch guardians on that thing than a horse. That's for sure.
I would agree with that. Yes.
I need to ask though. Can you pop wheelies at least? I think I may have asked this.
I tried.
Oh,
okay. You can kind of, but not. It's
It was almost like I wonder if you can sort of thing, and I attempted for a bit, and had no luck. I'm sure someone's been able to pop wheelies on it.
So disappointed.
You can jump on it, and you kind of land on the back wheel in it.
Yeah, it bounces up a little bit, but that's about it.
Yeah. You can ride around the guardians, and their laser targeting just won't hit you if you don't brake. Essentially, which is pretty cool. But yeah, the first thing I did after getting the bike was just point the camera to the middle of Hyrule Castle and air access. Go.
I kind of wish you could go up like steep slopes though. So say you want to climb a mountain, you'd be like, I can't be able to climb. Just go on the bike and just drive up the side of it, but it doesn't.
Well, like those there's angular columns which arch over the castle. If you could just bike over it and then straight into Ganon's throne, that would be impressive.
Yeah, no, I'll be happy with that. But what do you think of the refueling system?
I've only refueled once so far,
right? And
so I'm not sure. I'm sure things got different properties.
Mm-hmm. They have different values. Yep.
I chucked in Ancient Springs.
Yeah, that pretty much fills up the gauge.
All right, cool, excellent. I thought ancient stuff would be good for it.
Yeah, it is. That's the best stuff you can use.
And I assume apples not so good.
I haven't tried apples. There might be like a secret, super powerful fuel.
One apple's all you need.
My bike runs on apples. But yeah, the bike's cool. It's a nice little distraction, I think, for an in-the-game thing. It's just fun to drive around.
Oh,
I just wish it was fun.
I think it's a good item. Like if you have to, because the problem is with giving an item as a reward for completing your last thing, as it were. Right. In theory, is what's the use of it? Whereas I feel the bike is just silly fun. It's not.
Yeah. Did you have any side quests you needed clearing up as well? When you
I technically, I think I've got still 2 of the original shrines still to do.
Right. Oh wow. Okay.
I'm not sure.
You can now drive there in style. Yeah. So
yeah. Once I figured it out, I'll.
Okay, but actually, without saying too much, what did you think of the boss?
Ooh, I did it.
Oh, don't get too much into spoilers.
I thought it was cool.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was a cool boss.
I would agree with that statement.
Very nondescript, non-committal.
There you go.
Didn't even have to play it to say that.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much wraps up. I mean, I've been playing other little bits. Actually, I had a little tease here. So we had the new reward system put in place on the Switch, so you can now buy things with your gold coins. And so I've bought a game, which I've yet to play. It's a little teaser of what's to come next, which is Owlboy.
Okay.
Because the sprite art on that looks fantastic. And I've just heard a lot of things about it, and I'm eager to play it, and it's cool, and it's hit the Switch like a lot of things are doing. So I'm going to be playing some Owlboy soon.
Cool. All
right. So Colin, what have you been up
to? Okay. So let's break down what I've been up to. 2 games. I don't know which one to hear about first. I've been playing Super Mario Odyssey, which I finished, and I played my very first Kirby game ever.
First Kirby ever?
Wait, really?
Yeah, I've never played a Kirby game. I thought, you know what? Today's the day. Well, it wasn't today. It was a few days ago. But I said today's the day. I'm going to try a demo out of Kirby Star Allies.
Cool. Let's start there then.
You want to start with Kirby? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that good.
Did you not?
No. I thought it was. It's not okay. It's not a terrible game.
No, it's not.
There's a huge flaw with Kirby, and I'm not sure what every Kirby game is like.
And I say this from experience because I've played the demo of this one game.
Exactly. But so the issue I have with Kirby is it's an action platformer where a character can infinitely jump.
Yes.
Kind of breaks the platforming side of it.
Also, the most powerful character in the game.
Yes. It was like this game has zero challenge, and I didn't get it. I thought it was fun. I will say it's fun experimenting with the enemies you can absorb, the properties, and in this one you can.
That's not enough, Colin, for a game to be fun.
I'd like a bit of challenge in my game, and this had nothing to offer as a challenge. I mean, the game looks really nice. Everything looked really good in it. The animations are great. Kirby, the way he moves is very fluid, very nice. The bosses, he was very round. That has to be highlighted. Kirby is round. The bosses were really well done. Actually, I think they're the best looking things in the game, the bosses. But the gameplay is just kind of like, it's there. And that's about it. I was like, well, that's Kirby. All this fuss about, Kirby games are amazing. I'm like, I don't get it.
I mean, Kirby games are quite similar to each other. And so, I mean, I have played the demo for Star Allies, and it is a fair representation of what a Kirby game is.
Well, in that case, I'm not going to like the Kirby series.
So, to be fair, if you don't like this one, you probably won't like most of them.
Fair enough.
Obviously, there are a few here and there which, do put a twist on the formula. But yeah, most are what you've played. So I'm assuming, because the game strongly encourages you to do so. Did you gather like 3 little CPU co-op buddies?
Yes, and I found that they did pretty much everything for me. Like any switches, they'll run up and hit it, and they'll like progress you through the game. I'm like, I'm just gonna hang around and chill out. I just follow them. They know what they're doing. Like this game could be really fun with 3 other. I'm assuming you can do 4-player because
you can, yes.
That could be fun, but as a single-player experience, it just doesn't really scratch any itch for me. I was like, it just felt very just like my first action platformer game. It feels like a great game to give to a kid, but here you go. You can't really die because Kirby's like the most overpowered platformer character of all time. Do what you want. And it's like, and
like that's partly it. To be fair, like part of the design ethos is so you could just hand it to a kid and they will have fun. One thing I am still not certain of in Star Allies, and I guess it's not mandatory, but yeah, having up to 4 essential Kirbys on the screen.
Yeah,
like as I said, Kirby is a powerful character in himself on his own. Having 4 people like that, it gets even easier in that sense. And so if I'm playing it one player, I probably will just play it as just Kirby, as just one character. But the kind of core design does come from I'm trying to think of the more popular American name now, the Super Nintendo game Kirby, can't remember, but over in Europe it had the fun name of Fun Pack.
right, yeah.
But it's what oddly like the Smash Bros template kind of came from in terms of a lot of the basics. But you could have a co-op buddy in those games, and that was fun to do if you've got yourself and a friend. On a couch on a TV. It's actually quite fun to experiment with the different powers and such. It's not the hardest of games by any means, but there's a lot of crazy enemies. You swap out your powers. It's just fun to go through. And I imagine it will also be fun to do that 2-player over here. I imagine it's probably best balanced that way, is my guess. Right. But you can play it up to 4. I imagine things are just going to get a bit crazy then. Not necessarily a terrible thing.
It's just
having just the like 4 characters playing by yourself though. It's just an unstoppable force.
Yeah, you don't really need to do anything. And having this because Smash was my only real impression of what Kirby can do. I wasn't expecting the infinite jump. I was like, oh, he'll run out of steam like he does in Smash. No, you can jump for eternity. I'm like, what's the point? Why am I platforming? Because there is no point of any platforms in this platforming game. Kirby does not require them, and neither do your CPU buddies who don't even inhale air to jump. They just jump.
They just keep jumping.
Because they can do that now. And it's baffling. So, yeah, that was it.
So you won't be picking up the full game then?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll say it's about -6.
Ooh.
It's not going to happen. Yes. Should we move on to Mario?
All right, then.
I have finished, quote unquote, Mario Odyssey. I say finished, I've seen the credits.
Okay.
I'm nowhere near 100% done with the game. I do plan to go back to the levels and do my best to find the moons and coins and all that good stuff. But overall impression of Super Mario Odyssey, it is a really, really good Mario game. Still not the best 3D Mario game.
Okay,
Yes, Colin. Remind me.
My personal favorite is Sunshine.
No, I said nothing wrong with that. It's a very quirky one, and I will defend it too.
Freaking out right now. He's like, what? Yeah, to me, Sunshine.
I'm trying to get the right thumbnail for our video.
Super Mario Sunshine is, to me, besides the bad camera, which I do agree is a bit iffy at times, it feels the most coherent of the 3D Mario games. The problem I have with Odyssey is Mario is not really the main focus. The Cap is. Cappy is like, you need something done? Throw Cappy at it. Anything, most solutions.
And Sunshine doesn't have a similar problem?
No, there are key levels, key parts of the game where you don't have FLUDD. There's very few sections in Odyssey where you don't have the Cap.
There's a few.
A few. That's like I've become one in my playthrough so far.
Oh, no, loads.
And it's I just like it is a cool thing. The Cap is a cool thing, but my God, everything's like just throwing a Cap at it. But yeah, no, the game is good. I'm not saying it's bad anyway, and all the levels are really cool. All the worlds are creative. One stood out though, a mile from the others.
In
what way? There could be a few stages at this point.
Yeah, I know.
I believe it's the Lost. I was going to say Lost World. Is it Lost? It's the one we fought the dragon.
Oh, okay.
Now,
the Dark Souls stage.
Yes, exactly.
I'm told.
The Dark Souls, the Dark Souls dragon.
That's what I called it. I was like, are we in Dark Souls now? Like, when is this? But why are we? This feels like a completely different game.
I will get the reference later.
Like it's Mario Souls. I didn't get it. I was like, it's very tonally. It's a huge shift because the previous level was the food stage, I believe. Oh no, I think it's food stage. Anyway, but yeah, it's like, what is going on? However, Mario very nearly broke me. So I was doing this.
That's a headline.
I was doing posts. I mean, you can put it if you want. I was doing some post-game stuff. I was trying to do this 2D side-scrolling section where background moves. You got to try and stay with the background and remain 2D. If you come out of the background, you turn 3D, you fall down a hole. You have to stay 2D for this entire section. And my God, this game broke me because it is so frustrating with its intricate platforming and wonky physics in 2D. I don't care what anyone says; those physics don't work in 2D. Yeah, and it took me like 42 tries to get this. There's 3 moons. I've got 2 of them, so I've got to do it again to find the third. Now I just like, And apparently, this is not even the hard part of the game. The hard part of the game is like it's an extra section at the end. There's an extra hard place to go to. I'm like, no. You're
going to be taking a second look at Kirby.
maybe.
Embracing it with open arms.
Like, Kirby, come save me. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like there's that's a huge like difficulty spike out of nowhere. And I understand it's post game stuff, so it makes sense. But it was tough.
All right.
But
So what's the moon count so far?
Just shy of 200, I believe. I'm like 190 something, 194.
So
something.
a few more to go.
It's literally just shy of 200. Yeah, no, great game. Yeah. I love the costumes. I think the costumes are all great. I wish they gave special properties. Like every costume has something unique about it, but it's just aesthetic, really. But yeah, no, it's Sunshine. Sunshine's a great game. Honestly, it's a good game. It does. Yeah, I feel like it could use some improvements here and there, but overall, it's good.
Well, you heard it here first.
You
Mario Odyssey. It's good.
It's good. I mean, what more do you need? It's good.
Back in the box.
There you are.
Perfect.
Box quote.
Go. Are you ready, guys?
Yeah, for what the end the show? Or no, we still got more, don't we?
We got a little bit more to
This is
go.
going rather long. I do
We've
apologize.
got some Nintendo news. We do have a direct talk about, but we've got one news story first, which is the very recent Nintendo Switch 5.0 update, which came out today.
Colin has now experienced his first firmware update. Awesome.
Yeah.
It is amazing. What an experience.
Have we downloaded 5.0?
Yes, got it all.
Was it seamless and automatic and wonderful?
It's wonderful, even though there are some things I wanted out of it, whether it's themes or maybe a hint at a cloud storage system. But then again, I still feel like that's going to be more implemented with the online system, like the online service that's coming this fall. Because, I mean, I think we all agree that's one thing we want out of this console because of all the horror stories we've heard of people, just lose, like, their consoles breaking or being sent to repair and all their save data being erased. So, and, this is the thing that sticks out of this, though, actually, Lewis, list them all out. Like, list all what we got.
Yeah, certainly. So what we got, we have Facebook and Twitter integration for friend suggestions. So if you have your Facebook or Twitter account linked to your Nintendo ID, essentially the same as how 3DS and the Wii U and the smartphone apps work. If you got a mutual friend on Facebook or Twitter, they will appear as friends you can add to your Switch.
That feature I like, which made me actually add some people that I didn't realize I did not realize I was not friends with these people yet. But I did see some people posting screen caps of like the next day when they downloaded the update, and the next day they had like 25 friend requests.
Yeah, I can see that. No, it's a nice ad. It doesn't get rid of the friend code issue, but it does alleviate it somewhat. But it is weird. It's
weird that the friend code is still a thing.
Yeah, no, just how like you seemingly have to have all these different alternatives to kind of escape Nintendo from the responsibility of linking people together. It's like, oh no, it's not us. They were friends on Facebook. It went through their policies. It wasn't us. To go through us, they had to exchange some crazy code. No one would do that. So it's not our problem. The other new thing they added was 24 new profile pictures. Most of them being the different ARMS characters. Each one, no one has been left behind, including all
Lewis is excited about this. You can tell.
It's good. Representation of ARMS there. Oddly, probably taking maybe not the most, but definitely a large chunk of that profile selection is of ARMS now, which is more than most at least. But you got ARMS and Kirby related icons you can choose from. On the news section, you can now do different filters. There's basically a different view to view the news feeds you go through. This is a weird one. The eShop purchases you make outside of the Switch eShop itself will download. Download will start quicker, and they have an emphasis whilst it's asleep.
Right.
And the reason I say it's weird because I remember I can't remember what I downloaded, but I downloaded something from my phone or my laptop as I did the purchase, and I just I had the Switch. I think it was on my lap, and it was switched on. But like immediately after I like pressed that purchase button or the confirmation button, like the icon appeared on Switch as I wasn't expecting that. I'm guessing the real trick here is whilst it's asleep, it will check more often if that's happened. Because my Switch, the screen was already on when I did that little.
Okay. Experiment. No, it made me think like why. I mean, I'm assuming why there hasn't really been a mobile app per se for like, hey, here's an eShop app or a minded. Even though you can take like on Apple devices and actually create a home page off like Safari and have an app icon on the your home screen. I just don't understand why they would do that. But again, that's beside the point. Though, is that I don't know. That's a nice little feature to me. If I'm at work, I'm like, hey, I just want to download a little couple indie titles here and there while it's still in sleep mode. So yeah, no. Good.
That's cool. Like, if say you don't have your Switch with you, and there's like some sort of deal going on in the eShop,
some sort of flash sale or something.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen very often, but like if you like will do like catch the end of a sale sort of thing, you don't have your Switch on, you can do that purchase. It's handy every now and again. There's some new parental control options, so I won't spend too much time on it. The pin code, essentially, you can enter in with the buttons now, so it's not actually obvious what you're pressing on the screen.
Oh, wow.
Which might have been a slight oversight before. And in the same way, when you capture videos, it will remember the age rating of what from the game. And so if you're on an account which isn't allowed to like play 18 games, you won't be allowed to watch clips recorded from an 18 game.
Okay.
That's
or an M-rated game, as it were. And I guess the biggest one here, different coloured Pro controllers will now show their appropriate colours in the controller screen.
Oh, I told that to a friend of mine who recently got a Switch, and he's like, I don't want to lose like my Joy-Con when I actually like go to a friend's house. I'm like, don't worry. You can actually tell by whatever it's synced into, like if it's like someone else's controller, you can do like, hey, you can have it vibe, you can have it rumble to realize which one's yours. To me, I feel like that detail's good, but this one I like a lot.
It's handy, and I did notice. So the icon for like the standard black Pro controller looks slightly different now. I'm sure the handles look slightly more of a lighter grey, whereas I'm sure there's a difference. And the last thing we've got on our list here: users now receive notifications when a pre-purchased game can be downloaded. That one seems a bit odd. I thought that was all automatic anyway. I guess not. Well, good. But yeah, no. I mean, this is a major update, as in it's a 5. You know, it's a
round number,
traditional numbering system. Yeah, it's a full number. But it's 5. And I guess a little bit we've not mentioned. They fixed the playtime bug, which obviously was mentioned on not the last show, but the show before. And so games which you have played over a year ago, plus 10 days, won't show as, you've only played it like 1 day ago. It will have its proper hour count next to it.
Not a huge deal, but yeah, I can see why some people will get like annoyed over that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just a bug, basically. It's nothing to get crazy over, but it's something, Yeah. Address your bugs.
Address your bugs.
Address your bugs. Anyway, on to the big one. There was a Nintendo Direct. Did you hear?
Apparently, yeah.
Apparently you heard.
A nice little Direct.
I'm not sure about Harrison. I think he might just be pretending he's heard about it.
Pretending, yeah. I would put yes, I would elaborately put all this list of things on here of like, did you like the part where I said Mother 3 is finally coming out? I hope you did.
I don't see that here. It didn't happen.
It's never gonna happen. It's just never gonna happen.
We'll start with how the show which was with 3DS news.
Actually, before we do, I mentioned on here, whatever, but I mean, before we not spoil anything, what did we overall think of the Direct?
Okay. I thought it was a very good Direct. Overall, it had 3DS and Switch. There's ports, but there's some new stuff as well, and they went into details of other things which got me more interested in than I thought I would be. So yeah, I think overall it was a really good direct.
I thought it was pretty good. Not nothing blew me out of the water, but as far as a good mixture of first party, and mostly third party lineup titles that I thought we got from it. And of course, I know we'll be talking near the end, but obviously, Smash Brothers. Come on! How can we not be excited for that?
It's
very easily.
Whoa. Colin's not impressed with a new Smash.
We'll get to it.
Okay.
This is. I did though poll everybody, ask audience members to figure out what they listen to. And I wish I would this poll a little bit longer. I only ran it for 2 days. That's fine. But anyway, there was 4 options for the poll, and with 84 total votes across the board, 64% said it was an excellent direct, 26% thought it was good, 8% thought it was mediocre, and 2% thought it was poor.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Cool.
Do you guys want to know where I sit on this? So, yeah, overall, this direct I didn't think it was that great. I'll be honest. One word: Portageddon, and that's as far as I'm going to take it. Portageddon's upon us, and we'll go into the details on the actual direct itself. But yes,
have you got the special buzz prepared every time a port here is mentioned?
No.
Good. Okay, because that would get very tedious quickly. So starting with the 3DS stuff, this is it support, Colin? You're gonna have to confirm with me. We've got WarioWare Gold. That's a new game, right?
That's new. It's
more of a collection, isn't it?
It's a collection, yeah, but it's not. It hasn't existed before.
Am I right in thinking the number was 300 micro games?
Somewhere along those lines, yeah.
So yeah, it's got a bunch, at least, of micro games from different WarioWare games. It looks like it's got ones from both touch and twisted, so motion and touchscreen and traditional stuff as well. So a real varied collection, really. I'm sure I know I'm not the only one making the sentiment, but it's one of those games. I just wish it was on the Switch. And I know it's tiring to hear as well. I will pick this up for the 3DS still because I do like WarioWare, and it's been a while since we've had a WarioWare game.
What was the one that we had on the Wii U? I think that was.
It wasn't even a WarioWare game. Game and
Wario. Okay, yeah. You were correct. That wasn't really technically, but no, I think this is going to be in the same vein as like of a collection that we got with Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix. So it's nice to actually see these things put more back onto this device, which of course is very tailor made for something like this.
Well, definitely. So yeah, it's a good fit. It's also just cool to see that WarioWare is still there, even if it is just like a big compilation. So yeah, I'm hoping more WarioWare will come. The next on the list, we've got Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers.
Oh wow!
Dylan is still alive. It seems.
Is this his third game?
Yes.
I've not played any of the Dylan games.
I played the first one. It's and I'm not generally the biggest fan of tower defense games, but it was a thing. That was it. Wasn't something terrible or great. It wasn't terrible or great by any means. It was just more. I had a general okay fun time with it. I will say though the character Dylan the Armadillo would make for a great Smash character, but he's been more relegated to assist trophy status.
Yeah, and sorry, I have to interrupt from a comment from the live chat here, directed at Colin. Not sure if you've spotted this one yet.
Cool.
From Laser Show, Colin, do you even like Nintendo?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Okay, that's good.
They're calling you out, Colin. They're calling you out.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is a game which it's hard for me to say because again, there's been 2 previous Dylan games and not played either. This one looks improved. There's also some weird stuff going on. There's like furry me's going on in there.
This is the weird thing about this one.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
What's with the? It just baffles me. I'm like, why are they putting furry me's in? Like this racing game, what drove them to like this
People
game?
like these, right?
Do you know what this? We did a sell this game.
They're closing down Miitomo, but people like me's, right?
Apparently, no. I don't. I just.
Okay, Colin's not impressed.
Yeah, he just simply isn't. No.
All right. Moving on then, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser's Junior's Journey for the 3DS coming in 2019.
But okay,
long
question. Why mention this game now?
Why not? I mean,
because we're in 2018. It's not
this could easily be. I mean, this could easily be like a January 2019 game. I understand.
That's like 10 months though.
They announced Metroid Prime 4, and we don't know a date for that, and that's probably coming in 2019.
There's a huge difference though. That is Metroid. That's huge. This is on a 3DS, which is a system that is like has a solid fan base, but this isn't going to push any new systems out the door. This is purely like, hey, we're going to bring an old game back to life with some extra bits.
Yeah.
And they're going,
this is really strange of you, Colin. To me, I just feel like it's a
strategic move, as in they deliberately announced it now to say, yes, we are supporting the 3DS till next year and beyond, as it were.
Which kind of leads me to think
more so than the game itself.
Well, there are people out there when it comes to I was kind of glad to get more 3DS information on here because even though most of my time is spent on my Switch, though, I don't know. Nintendo's trying to squeeze as much out of this as I can handheld right now. And for people who say why are they still continuing to support this right now? It's like, well, let me ask you this. It's a little thing. I'm not the best type of person in the industry right now, but I'll say maybe you have to deal with it selling over 70 million units right now. And I know that pool is just slowing down at this moment. And when people say oh, because the Switch is out, that means they can cut the cord in a 3DS. And when people fail to realize that this accounts for almost more than half, I believe, of the Nintendo's revenue. Absolutely. Doing that would just be idiotic. So it's a matter of keeping to squeeze this thing out. But of course, people have said the reason why they're putting this thing out right now continuously is that either is there a possibility that Nintendo does not have a successor to this thing out ready to go, or do they just, as one people I know pointed out, is I love this as being as a true base handheld. It is meant for kids, and there's nothing wrong with that. Whatever. I mean, as far as design, so the case of Mario and Luigi, whatever. I mean, what I want to get to is that it's just showing that the support's still kind of going out to it, but also. I never did play Bowser's Inside Story. I heard it was pretty good, but I was surprised they went with that as opposed to Partners in Time.
Right, exactly.
They're skipping it. Well, that's why they've announced this one so far in advance, because it gives them enough time to support.
That's the worst reason ever.
I'm just dude, Louis putting on his the tinfoil hat there. Okay.
This shouldn't have been mentioned.
They announced the wrong game.
That's clearly it. Oh, no. Just quick, put 2019 on the end. No one will care in 6 months. I don't know. It baffled me. I was like, this is. At first, I was like, this is really cool. I wouldn't mind picking this up for 3DS. I saw 2019. I was like, are you kidding me? Why?
I do hear that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the word on the street, Bowser's Inside Story is the best of the Mario and Luigi games.
I can't vouch for it because I've not played it. That's the thing.
I can't either.
I did play Dream Team Bros. That was really good. So,
what's the last thing on our 3DS item to get to?
Right. Before I mention that, I want to read another comment from Laser Show. It's a follow-up from the previous one. Okay. Down on Kirby, not hyped for Smash. In quotes, Mario Odyssey is good. Also, most systems get ports on their first year. Moving on. We have Luigi's Mansion, the original version. Originally launched on the GameCube. It's coming to the 3DS this year. This year, Colin.
Yes. Question.
Okay.
Why?
Because they have a good Luigi's Mansion engine already built for the 3DS.
That's not a good excuse.
It's a good start.
Luigi's Mansion.
Excuse what?
Luigi's Mansion. Okay, it started as a console game.
Yeah.
Why is it not? Why did they not just put it on Switch?
Because putting something on here is probably a lot cheaper than using more assets, and plus Next Level Games probably has the groundwork already laid for this. They're like, hey,
but that's
also
the issue.
counterpoint. Luigi's Mansion is like a 3-hour game. If you sell it as a full-price Switch game, I don't think it works quite the same as selling it as a 3DS portable game.
They sold it as a full-price GameCube game.
Yes, but that was a GameCube game.
At $60.
That was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Times have changed.
Yeah.
And that game hadn't existed when they made the GameCube game. It was new at that point.
Did Lewis being gone for a while finally decide to, like, you know what, Colin needs to turn up? I mean, good for the this is quite interesting.
I just don't understand. Like, I think this would have been better served on the Switch than 3DS.
Would it have had to be a budget like digital only game, or do you reckon it would have still been a full price physical release?
No, I could see it being a budget. You know, this is only digital. That's fair enough, but it just doesn't make much sense because I would have killed for a HD version of Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's Mansion is a great game. It's just like this. Or they could have just done Luigi's Mansion and Luigi's Mansion 2 as a double pack and given us that on Switch.
See, I feel like this is more a bit of entitlement kind of going into things like this. I just don't feel like this is more. My reasoning for this is like, I was a little surprised that they would put this on 3DS, but I understand because what's just cheaper to do? It's cheaper to put it on here as opposed to something getting lost in price.
This going to be put on like Nintendo Selects. Like it's going to be shoved right on there, like pretty much as soon as it comes out.
Exactly, but they've already got the engine in place. It's probably not much work to do. If they were to HDify the whole thing for Switch, it would be a lot more effort.
It would.
They would probably have to sell it for the same price.
They would.
It's more effort for less gain. Business.
How many copies do you think Luigi's Mansion is going to sell on 3DS?
Well, I can
profitable.
I can see how much it sold on the.
It's going to sell 1 million.
I doubt that.
There's a lot of.
Dude, okay, Colin. Super Mario Maker without the online feature sold 3 million copies. That's
True.
how good.
But this is a game that came out like what 15 years ago, more than that. It's like how old is Luigi Mansion? Like 16 years old?
Almost 16.
Like nobody's going to want to buy this. I don't get it.
Oh my.
We'll see when it comes out. We'll see the sales, but I
know that I feel like though that this one it's a bit more linear type of game. I do know that, but as opposed to Dark Moon, and I love Dark Moon. Hang on, I'm looking up the sales for this because I will tell. Dark Moon. Okay, you want to know how it sold? 5.23 million copies. Dark Moon.
Dark Moon.
You know how many
Yeah,
you know how many copies that Luigi's Mansion sold on the GameCube? 3.6 million.
Right. It's not going to reach 3.6 million on 3DS. It won't. It won't.
But they're not developing it from the ground up again, are they? They've got the engine in place. They've got the game.
So what you're saying, this is a very quick, cheap port that no one's going to care about.
I'm saying it's cheap port, but there's a lot of 3DSs out there. As you've already said, there's like 70 million of the things. They're still selling.
I'm going to look.
There's not 70 million 3DSs out there. That's how many they've sold. People have broken their 3DSs or lost them or whatever. But
wow,
there's not 70 million out there. Point aside.
Why do you hate Nintendo, Colin?
I don't. I'm being realistic.
This ain't being realistic. This is being entitled.
No, I'm just saying that.
Okay, I'm gonna love your reaction by when E3 comes along if they inevitably announce a remake for Link's Awakening and it's on the 3DS. Okay. And I'm going to be holding like I'm gonna post the biggest Kermit drinking tea meme in the world on your Facebook page, on your Twitter page.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Joining on the chat. Wow, salty Colin is amazing. Okay, moving on.
Okay.
We have Nintendo Switch games to talk about, Colin. What was your one word to describe this direct again?
Port again.
Okay. Okami HD coming in the summer. Now, I've got a confession. I've never played Okami.
I will raise my hand, and I have never finished it. I only got about a quarter of the way to because I rented it before, and I am excited to try this out because.
Okay,
I'm excited too. I've never played it. I've heard great things. It's been ported many times already, but this seems a great fit. It's got both the touchscreen support for the paintbrush, as well as motion controls, as well as traditional controls. Colin, what's your take?
Okay, this isn't the worst out of all the ports they've announced. I think this is the least.
Are you deliberately not trying to be positive now?
Yeah, I think he's trying to be a contrarian and just.
I'm not.
This is not the worst.
It's not. Okami is a great game. It really is a great game. It looks good in HD, and I'm glad it's on Switch.
All right, that's a special game. Okay, moving on.
Yes.
We have.
When is that coming out, though? That's I forget.
Okay,
good.
No actual date yet, apart from summer
2019.
Remember the theme. We have Dark Souls. We knew was coming. It's being released May 25th, but also alongside it. Oh no, wait. There is a network beta test. I believe that's. I'm not sure if I've got my dates confused or not. I'm not sure.
No, it is releasing in May.
Oh, okay. So it's releasing in May. There's also network test going on before it's released.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an amiibo.
Yeah.
Who here has actually played Dark Souls?
I've watched friends play Dark Souls, and I've actually watched a friend of mine who played Demon Souls, which was basically the Dark Souls.
Right?
Yeah, it was a precursor and spiritual successor. I will say though, I'm glad this is on here. It just Dark Souls is not necessarily my jam, but I'm glad that people are excited for it. That's really for me. I mean, I just feel so intimidated by it. Every time I watch, I'm like, I would not be having so much fun with this.
And yourself, Colin, generally can't remember. Have you played any Dark Souls?
I've not. I've played Bloodborne. I've played some other variations of Souls games because it's a genre now apparently.
Yes.
They were like the Dark Souls aesthetic never really appealed to me. Not really found that like horror aspect of it. I'm not really excited for this in any way. I feel like they missed a step by not releasing the most like Dark Souls 3.
Right, or like in a collection sort of thing, or would free.
A collection would be like more expensive, but I mean they could have easily done it. They could have easily done a collection. I feel like they're just hedging their bets by doing the first one. They're probably going to do 2 later on. You'll get the third one as like they'll do like 3 singles.
Possibly, because we should probably mention for context, the other systems are getting a remastered Dark Souls as well at the same time.
So yeah,
and so it might be a plan like there will be. I'm not sure how long it would have to be, but remasters or 2 and 3 eventually for everyone as well, and that's when the Switch would also get them.
Yeah, let's talk about the amiibo though.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Interesting functionality. Where, again, I did deliberately preface this with our Dark Souls experience, but you can praise the sun. You can do that pose, which I hear you can do straight out of the gate anyway. But placing amiibo on the little scanner will just actually make you do the pose, opposed to you having to press the button or whatever you have to do normally.
$14.99, folks, to buy a doll that makes you do a pose. Wonderful. Now it's
meme culture.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going for. That's exactly the audience they're targeting. It's like, oh, people love their memes, so
people love their dank memes, man. Come on.
It's the dumbest use for amiibo ever. I don't get it.
Colin is the Dark Souls of Nintendo commentators.
No, it's dumb.
It's dumb. Okay, moving on. Sushi Striker, Way of the Sushido. It's coming for both the 3DS and the Switch, June 8th.
I know it does have a bit of a discrepancy with its price. I think the Switch version is being priced more at a premium, and then of course the Switch version, I'm assuming is probably like $30 or $40. And hopefully that price for something like this does feel like it's like an eShop exclusive type of title. And this is what out of when this direct was coming out, I was really kind of pumped to figure out when the release for this, because I think they showed it off at last year's E3 briefly, and hopefully there's enough content in here to kind of justify buying it full price. But it looks fun. It's a nice little puzzle, nice little not puzzle platformer, but a nice little action puzzler where you're just serving sushi.
Yeah, it looks like they've got a cool competitive mode as well, which they showed off.
Now, I was like looking, I was like, what the style is, but I think it's yeah, you match colored plates with the types of sushis and then you hurl tall stacks of plates at your opponent. So I was like, and I did not realize this, it will have an online multiplayer mode.
Yes. Yeah, it looks like I'm hoping that's like well balanced and such, so it's good to, you know, just face opponents in that sense. Because you get some puzzle games which obviously clearly more geared towards a more single player marathon like session and actual competitive play. But if it works, that could be a seller for me on its own. I have to admit that I was impressed by just the zaniness and the full commitment to this, like the anime aesthetic, and having like these like dramatic cutscenes to go alongside serving up sushi as the actual game. I quite like that balance of, yeah, we know the actual gameplay, although it may be, you know, particularly fun whilst you're playing, it doesn't look particularly exciting as an, you know, observer. But yes, we're going to lean heavily into this whole, you know, very dramatic character stuff going on outside of it for some reason.
Yeah. Well, now this one's dropping in fairly soon, right? June?
It is. It's dropping in June, and so yeah, that's both Switch and 3DS, because originally it was just announced for the 3DS, so this was the first time we knew this was coming out for the Switch. Let's move on now. Octopath. Sorry, let me go back a little. Project Octopath Traveler.
Is it still Project, or do they just drop?
It's finally, it's had a rename. They've gone back to the drawing board. They did say it was a tentative title. We now have Octopath Traveler.
They dropped the project.
They dropped the one word people were pretty happy with.
What's with like? Because Hyrule Warriors is the same thing. Hyrule Warriors tentative title, and they just called it Hyrule Warriors. It's like, well, just okay.
To be fair, that used two words people could understand from the get-go.
Octopath Traveler doesn't really. I
mean,
well, no.
The Octopath part. I didn't really. To be fair, of all the Square Enix RPG names,
I mean, Bravely Default is the worst.
Project Octopath Traveler compared to some of the things.
Bravely Default up there is the worst title. It doesn't really explain anything.
Like the one thing I like about Bravely Default, at least it's brief compared to some of their titles, where it's like many lines of text. At least it's just two words. It doesn't make any sense, but at least it resembles the names of the core mechanic.
Kind of in a very loose sense.
So Octopath Traveler is coming out July 13th. So which is sooner than I was expecting, because we didn't have any sort of date to it before this point.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. Honestly, it's one of the Switch games I'm really looking forward to playing. So I'm glad it's finally got a release date, July, so not too far away, really. Yeah, I'm good. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, see, I can be positive, people.
There we go. And on that theme even, we have, I believe, Tomato on the chat is suggesting a possible future amiibo you could be interested in on the meme theme, which is potentially the next amiibo is going to be the Ugandan Knuckles. Do you know the way?
Oh,
any interest here on that one? Any takers?
No. That's
what would it do?
It's very racist. That's what it is.
Oh dear. Okay, let's leave that one out of it then. Okay.
Yeah, it's like you go deep. That's all I know. It's like, oh, it's apparently really, really racist.
Sorry, we don't want that amiibo. Moving on, we have an update on Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, which is the full title. So I believe it's the first time, at least, we've had any extensive look at what the game actually looks and plays like outside of cutscenes. And so what it is, as they described, you are kind of playing these retro-inspired games as Travis. Oddly, like in a 4x3 window with, like, you know, borders down each left and right side. And so it's a weird mix of
Mhm.
the sort of like zany, kind of crazy attitude and effects which No More Heroes is used to, but more old school gameplay. I'm not entirely sure what to think of this one yet. It's quite bizarre.
No. It's like when they initially announced this back. When was it that they gave it out? I think it was last August. And it would be taking place. It would definitely deviate from what we've been seeing from the past 2 No More Heroes Tiles games. Which, by the way, I do hope they find a way to port a collection of those to the Switch because I feel like they'd be great with the Joy-Cons. But besides that, though, it's like I'm intrigued, but also is this going to be so far to a point where it just I know because one of the couple of game styles it's going to be a racing game, an action adventure.
Yeah. It's like 6 games in one. It's just it basically took all these genres, just kind of like squished them together, depending on the section of the game you're playing. It did look good. It looked good. It's kind of confusing that it's not No More Heroes 3. It's a spin-off game essentially.
And there's these weird clips which look like it's from a No More Heroes 3.
Exactly. Almost. That's what I was thinking. I was like, is this like going to lead into No More Heroes 3? Hopefully.
I'm wondering, is that stuff just like cutscenes or like when you save in the game? Is it like the stuff in between menus? Or is there actually a part of this game where it is playing a more traditional No More Heroes, like in between this stuff?
I mean, it'd be intriguing when it comes out, but
I mean, the one like a good thing at least on my side is it does support local co-op, which obviously due to the nature of the previous games they didn't, as it were. So it does look like it would be a cool co-op game. But yeah, it's hard to get my head around of how much of a No More Heroes game is this, and how much is it a Travis is joining this other game, which I'm guessing is partly why they've called it what they have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am intrigued though. I mean, partly due to the wackiness. Like I think Suda's almost at his best when you're not necessarily. Oh yes, obviously, yeah, that's a check. But also when you're not necessarily knowing what to expect out of the game you're picking up from the shelf. It's like, I think I've got an idea what this is going to be. And it's not that. So it should be interesting. And it's to be released this year. We don't have any more details on that yet.
Next. And it's coming out. And it is coming out this year. So again, the Switch lineup is getting better on all different fronts.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And returning to the main theme, we have Captain's Toad Treasure Tracker coming to both the Nintendo Switch.
I loved this game on the Wii U. I loved this game on the Wii U. And it was one that I was worried it wouldn't make it because I think a lot of it was tied to the game. Some portions were tied to the gamepad, but I guess they were able to get around that. So
for both 3DS and the Switch. And they've added in Super Mario Odyssey inspired stages.
Wow.
Colin's impressed.
Clearly. No, this is horrendous. I don't know. It just feels like they're just like anything else. I was like a semi-hit on the Wii U. Bring it over. Give it second life on the Switch.
Do you think this will sell better or worse than the original game on the Switch? And I guess and 3DS combined, I guess.
I'm going to say, well, it will sell better on the Switch because people have actually bought the Switch. The Wii U sales were kind of lagging, so I think this is it has a much better chance on Switch for sure. Yeah, but I just of all the Wii U games they could port over, they chose this. Although to be fair, they are running out of huge games on the Wii U to bring over now. I think the only ones left are probably X, Zero Chronicles X, or like Tokyo Mirage Sessions. They're probably the last few big games that I could think of.
I think there's a fair few, like Mario Maker, for example. That's a pretty big one.
They're better off just making a whole new Mario Maker, not
okay. No, don't bother. That wasn't good. Sort of. We don't need any more Mario Maker.
No more. The series is dead. Yeah, I just ports, man, more ports.
What's wrong with you have these other options as well? you knew this was going to happen. Here's the thing. We were excited for Bayonetta 2, and probably as being in our favorite Wii U game, we both said on previous points, we're like, hey, we're going to double dip on that. Of course, yeah, it's one of our favorite games on there. May probably double dip on Captain Toad. Probably not because, well, it would have to entice myself to basically other options, but I'm glad it's there because more people who didn't own a Wii U are able to experience it.
That's true. The reason we're winning double dip on Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2, those games are huge, and the fact that you can now bring them portable is a huge selling point, at least for me.
Can we not? We could use the same example. Like, Treasure Tracker's got a lot of content in there.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it can be about depend. I mean, there's a lot to if you want to get full completionist. It's I want to say like just a little bit under 10 hours, maybe a little under 8.
Doesn't really quite compare to Bayonetta though.
Bayonetta you can beat in 10 hours. Both 1 and 2.
Fully, like, that game has like secrets all over the place.
I'm getting to think that you just can't live in a world where it's like ports and new games can live
I can't live in a world where we have a direct which is 90% ports thrown at us.
That's
shall I blow your expectations and move over to the next item then, Colin?
Go for it.
I think this may change your mind.
Yeah.
We have Undertale coming to Nintendo Switch this year. What do you have to say about that?
Undertale's I have not played it myself, but I've heard it's really good. It's cool. I'm kind of surprised that it's not like coming sooner. They haven't really got a date on it.
No, they kind of deliberately vaguely worded it as such.
Exactly.
Coming eventually was the word.
Yeah.
And then later Nintendo said, oh, this year.
I would kind of hope that the Switch is getting some sort of special version of it. They're going to like put it back a bit. I guess we'll see, but it does kind of like can't they just
It's heavily. I mean, something like that's kind of almost. Well, would you say this is almost a bit influenced from like the Mother series almost?
Oh, absolutely.
And but also this being on here because the fact that you can have it's based on the Game Maker Studio engine, and that's what the Wii U couldn't have.
Right.
Knowing that it can finally work on here is definitely a good game changer in terms of getting more things like that on here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm agreed. So I think I'm the only person who's played Undertale here then.
Yeah, you did discuss it before pre-Switch. So
yeah, because I played it on PC, and I really, really liked Undertale. It's really cool, and it does. I mean, what might be a problem for people who haven't played it? I think its core gimmick might have been spoiled.
Okay.
But without spoiling it, it does play in the conventions of regular JRPGs. And you're not expecting it to. And maybe me saying that is too much, but without at least that much, I kind of failed to see what the original pitch is for it. But it is also just generally funny. It's got a lot of heart to it. And it's going to feel at home on a Nintendo system. I think a lot of people are going to be happy for this. But yeah, it's also cool, as Harrison mentioned, that this was a Game Maker game. It's going to be, I think port is the wrong word, I guess. Or maybe it is the right word. But with Game Maker 2.0, which is now just a compatible thing. So people with Game Maker 2 can port their games to the Switch. And so that's cool in itself. Not actually mentioned in the Direct. But
that's good news. They should have, though. They should have this game, we couldn't have it before now we can because of the same game. I'm happy it's coming. Let's not play it myself, but I probably will pick it up for Switch. So I've heard nothing but good things about it until. But the release date did kind of confuse me.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Get there. So. All right. So again, breaking the theme a little. Oh, no. We've got Crash Bandicoot, though. The Insane Trilogy coming to the Nintendo Switch.
I know that we had one Crash game on a Nintendo console. I think it was...
We've had quite a few, actually.
Well, no, we had one. It was right after when Sony lost it. I wouldn't say lost its rights. We've
had a bunch of them. There was 3 on the GameCube, about 3 on the Game Boy Advance. Even the N-Gage got a Crash Bandicoot game.
Of course, the Engage.
The exclusivity of Crash Bandicoot is severely overstated.
Well, I think it's was when Naughty Dog stopped making them. That's when
Yes.
the exclusivity kind of ended. So the Insane trilogy, I could leave it. Honestly, I don't really care for it.
I mean, not my jam, but again, my general consensus for something like this is like there are people who want it. That's really, and I find it very straight. I find it just quite mind blowing knowing this time and age. Where if you told me like 20 years ago, like yeah, Sonic games, Crash Bandicoot games, and even Mega Man and Bomberman games are all going to be on a Nintendo platform. I'm like, you are out of your dang mind.
Yeah, and the Insane trilogy and the originals, I guess, were very popular over here in Europe as well.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's obviously is also out on the PS4, and this trilogy will also be coming to the Xbox One at the same time the Switch release.
Did you guys play the Crash games when they first came out?
I don't think I've actually played a Crash game.
I played
1, 2, and 3.
I played 3. That was the only one I did. But
I was always kind of put off by them because I always I guess wrongly. I just kind of even without playing it, like directly compared to like the Mario 64, and go, nah, this is nowhere even close.
No. That's what I was kind of almost for a while. I mean,
yeah, but it shouldn't necessarily prevent you from even playing a game, sort of thing. This is where I'm
well, me as like I don't know, like what was it like when I was like a 9 or 10-year-old, and of course I'd see that ad where a guy dressed up in like Crash Bandicoot was everywhere on TV, and like those really good series of ads that Sony put out. The guy in the Crash outfit, he went to Nintendo of America's headquarters in Redmond and had like a microphone just saying like just harassing basically like not to people's faces but outside the building, just say like that your game. They're saying like, oh, that Mario guy, he sucks. Why not? Because here's this new Crash game.
Back in the day, that was called fair marketing. I don't think you can get away with it now. Yeah, the Crash games aren't particularly great platforming games. So people would say they're amazing. I never like the perspective. I don't like that vertical kind of like, especially when you're doing scenes where you're running into the camera and it's like chasing you.
They're my favorite parts.
Really horrible games. Horrible. It's horrible. See, I don't think these games aged too well, and I don't know. I'm not really excited about them being on Switch. They're just there. More ports.
Yeah, it's a 3-in-1 port collection, that one, Colin. So
Yeah, but
more bang for your buck, more ports for your money.
Sure.
We also have a Little Nightmares Complete Edition.
I'm a little unknown on this one. I think this is part of the direct I was out of the room for. But
unfortunately, I don't know the name of the studio makes it. It is a horror themed. It almost looks a little bit like claymation-y in parts in terms of some of the creature designs. Okay. And it looks like it's a puzzle platformer exploration-y type game, but it's very much leaning into the just that kind of horror nature of it. Being a creepy game. It looks intriguing. What I did find very peculiar, though, was the amiibo functionality. It did seem very shoehorned, which is because it's published, at least, by Namco Bandai. Mm. And if you use a Pac-Man amiibo,
yes,
the girl in the little yellow coat, her coat kind of looks like Pac-Man.
You say it's very shoehorned. That's like 90% of amiibo usage is shoehorned in.
Oh, well, this is a different type of shoehorning, as it were.
A little bit.
Where usually I would say amiibo functionality, it's more lackluster. And this is just
this isn't lackluster.
What it is, but I mean, I don't understand even why it exists.
I guess just because they could, I guess. That's like the selling point of it, though. Like, buy it on Switch. Why? Oh, you can use a Pac-Man amiibo.
Well, yeah, I guess it's the marketing point, yeah. But I think it puts the game down, which it looks like a really cool game, to be fair. So, I don't want that to be
Pac-Man looks like something Tim Burton would make. And that's not a bad thing. That's a great
Yes,
thing.
that's
So yeah, it looks cool. But yeah, like I said, the Mimo music is just kind of like, what the heck? But yeah,
all right, well, hang in there, Colin. We've got another one. South Park, The Fractured Butthole.
Okay.
It's going out April 24th. And they did make a point saying that the DLC is also going to be there. And the way they described it is that it's not actually that like season of DLC is not actually finished yet on the other console. So you're up to the point everyone else is. There's be like 2 packs available. There's still a pack to go. But yeah, The Fractured Buttholes.
This was I was a little surprised we didn't get the Stick of Truth. There
we go.
Came before it. No, I was a little surprised we didn't get that beforehand because I know certain retailers were like, I think even the PlayStation Store, they were selling like, hey, if you download the Fractured Butthole, you would get Stick of Truth for free. So no, this one was kind of rumored to be on here because I think a couple retailers of most of these games, including Crash Bandicoot and even Undertale, I believe, and parts of Dark Souls, were accidentally leaked by incompetence of retailers.
Like listed in that, yeah.
This one though, I know I'm a fan of South Park, even though I feel like Matt and Trey, for a couple bit of their comedy, can kind of go punch down on a lot of things, and just because I've just gotten older. But I'm glad this one. I think the only thing I was really turned off that not wanting to buy this on my PS4 initially was because Obsidian did not make this one as opposed to the first, like because I did the first one. So I was like, oh, that's a little disappointing because they did such a good job in the first one. Yeah, I'll probably check this one out.
Yeah, I probably won't. I'm not a fan of South Park, really. But yeah, I was just kind of surprised. Like, we're getting the second game, but not the first.
Yeah, but it's also this is also of note. We are getting this not too far out from the other version's release, so about 6 months. So that's not that as bad.
Yeah, but 6 months is huge, though. If you want, if you really want to play this game, then surely you would have already played it. Same goes for Crash, really. If you really want to play Crash, I mean, majority of people would.
It's better turnaround right now. The fact is you're getting these games on here now. Of course, of course, though, this being an M-rated game, it'd be wise for them to see if this sells well, so that actually Ubisoft is able to put more M-rated games on here.
I mean, we'll see how it turns out, but I just kind of baffled by the decision to release the second game, really. But I mean, we'll see.
Colin, the champion of ports there. If only there was one more, I would be happy.
Oh yeah, what is this next one that Colin's going to?
Well, actually, Colin will actually love this because it's not a port at all. ARMS is having a US and Canada online open tournament where the greatest of ARMS players be competing against each other, and 8 of them in the end will fight off to win signed pieces of artwork.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
However, I mean, at first, I did watch the American stream of this and going, never mind, this is just localized. There will be a European version of this. But no. It's US and Canada was the only one mentioned in all the streams. Unless there's a Japanese one, probably. So yeah, no tournament play for me, which is probably for the best.
I need to get back into ARMS right now. I mean, it's glad that it actually sold really well for being a first-time IP, but not having that blowout success that we saw with Splatoon. Still, Nintendo's doing everything they can to actually just kind of pump more interest into this, and hopefully, especially with this coming on the heel, like getting ready to. With the online app coming, like the online service happening. So
that's right. And you got your profile pics as well, and they're doing a tournament. Yeah, they're still pushing ARMS. I mean, and it's still getting updates, even though they said it wouldn't get anything major.
Like balances and stuff, right?
Not just balances. They've technically have added at least a new mode in since. They've added like a bunch of new things, really. Which is odd. Like nothing. Like they have not added like a new character or anything since, but they've definitely adding stuff into the game. That game is still growing, which is cool. Anyway, let's get back into.
Wait, when is that term? It's when did it say it was starting?
They tell me.
Its ARMS is now. Oh, it's now going on through March 18th, and it says the top 8 players from these preliminary rounds will move on to an online finals on March 31st. So
there you go.
So yeah, one to watch though, at least I shall be watching. Next up, however, back into the main theme, Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Go on, let's get a smile, Colin. Coming out May 18th. It's Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, it is. It's a game that I spent about 80 hours on the Wii U. So
how many hours on the 3DS did you spend?
0.
Then you're missing a lot of content. It's a definitive edition will cover. I imagine it will have its own DLC as well. This game will never stop.
Honestly, I am slightly interested in picking this up for Switch purely because of the My Fairy stuff. Because I never had that with the 3DS version. And the prospect of new DLC for it.
Yes.
But I'm holding off buying it until they announce that.
Okay.
So we'll see. That it kind of hinges on if it's getting new stuff, great. If it's not, oh well.
Are you going to get Fire Emblem Warriors first?
I will definitely. Yes.
Will it be first?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Good.
I feel like there was a lot bit more. Even though I enjoyed Hyrule Warriors, I feel like Fire Emblem Warriors, from what I've seen from people, have actually taken that whole was it that type of format a lot better than what it's generic kind of just slash.
Honestly, Hyrule Warriors was really good, but it did feel like they just took a very generic template and just skinned it with Zelda stuff. Well, there you go. So
and it succeeded. I mean,
it was going to. It's Zelda. You know, I went for to make a Star Wars one. That'd be fly the shells. But yeah, Fire Emblem looks like it's more true to the series than the Zelda one. Like it follows some of the concepts and battle strategies used in the actual main game. So
yeah, add enough layers to it. Like
exactly,
it's got like so many like layers that some of them you forget about. Like it's got that weapon triangle in there. You can direct units at any time on the map and tell them to defend or go places. You can swap between characters on the fly and such. You can partner up to help with experience and gain support ranks with each other to get unique items, which will help you promote them and such. And you can promote their class as well across all the characters. And they have they visibly change as well when you do that. And so there's a lot of cool things going on there. However, we have an update on Mario Tennis Aces. They did spend a fair bit of time in this on the Direct.
This part of the Direct killed me because they spent so much time.
Well, you kind of knew
it's an original game. Of course, they're going to focus on it, Colin.
Yeah, and plus,
how much time do you spend on tennis? They're hitting a ball back and forth.
Well, Colin.
Yes, Harrison. Hello.
Go back to that original tweet that Nintendo America put out. It definitely specifically says they were going to spend a good portion of time on Mario Tennis Aces.
I know, but when you got a 30-minute Direct and 10 minutes that's dedicated to a tennis game, I think you have a slight problem.
That was not 10 minutes. I am looking that up right now. Okay. By the way, I will say though, I may not be too interested in something like this, but it does seem like, thankfully, this has a lot more content than what we saw with Power Smash. Is that what it was called in the Wii U?
I don't know.
I
erased that game from my memory because it
was garbage. I know. It was pretty much garbage, but
it was bad.
No,
I actually quite liked, and I think it might have been the reason why they spent a decent amount of time on this, however long that may be, talking through the actual mechanics of the game, because I think a lot of people, didn't play the Wii U version. And I don't think mechanically was what was wrong with it. It was just the lack of content.
I did find out what they did talk about. It was only, it was 6 minutes. 6 minutes.
Okay.
And also the previous game was Ultra Smash. Tomato on the live chat informs us. And that does sound correct. Mm-hmm. Ultra Smash.
Thank you for the person on the live chat. Thank you.
They went through the different, and it does sound like it's a good mix between it being a fast-paced, competitive game and being too over the top. Like there's a lot of counters to things, and there's systems in place so the game doesn't go on forever. Also,
and there's also the thing where it deals with your racket could break.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Which is like good because I think it was the GameCube one which had the problem where you could just get into an infinite rally essentially.
Yeah.
You could just keep doing power shots to each other. But yeah, and there's also, and I do like it when a game does this when they promote. Oh, also we got classic mode. You can just play it like
which is honestly that's why I feel like the standard because they've included some really like gimmicky stuff, like the whole slow down time thing and last minute saves
and then the motion aiming.
Yeah,
where your shot's going to go.
Like,
I don't know how that's going to work in multiplayer.
Just give me the basic tennis game. I mean, that's what people want out of tennis, surely. Yeah.
So yeah, I think this has actually raised my expectations.
Really?
Yeah, I think it has.
How low were your expectations? It's just tennis.
I think this is looking quite good, to be fair. I mean, I enjoy a good Mario Tennis game. This looks like a good Mario Tennis game. At first, I thought, this could be good, and now I'm fairly confident it shall be. Because they spent a decent chunk of time.
You can play as a chain chomp.
Exactly. What more could you ask for?
I don't know. They also gotta like the fact that like how we're now seeing them in tennis outfits, and just to see we actually see what Luigi's hair looks, or what Luigi's hair looks like, and he just every time he doesn't make a good play or a set, he throws a rose in his mouth, like pulls out a rose. I'm like, okay, this is something.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It was just tennis. They spent. I understand they wanted to talk all about the new stuff and features and things, but good lord, they spent some time on it.
They specifically warned you at the beginning that there was a port, and thankfully I was thinking like, oh, it's gonna be like about 15 minutes of it. We got six, and that was well enough to realize like, okay, I'll give this game a chance.
Yeah,
they could all that in like a minute long trailer, and there you go. Boom.
Do you really feel like that if we would cut like 5 minutes out of this, and that would have gave you like, oh yeah, by the way, here's a Fire Emblem Switch trailer, or here's an update on Metroid Prime 4, or here's
anything. Anything.
Don't blow everything out at once.
They didn't blow anything. Oh, besides Smash, which we'll get to.
Anyway. One more thing even.
Yeah.
Next up, Splatoon 2 version 3 was announced. There's going to be 100 new like cosmetic items. There's new stages. Obviously new weapons as well. And on top of all that, we're getting the first paid DLC for Splatoon in general across both games. The Octo expansion, which is mainly a single player component where you're going to go through 80 stages, specific challenges, and you're going to get from challenge to challenge on the subway system. With playing as an Octoling. And once you've beat these 80 stages, you'll get to play as...
Wait, 18 or 80?
80.
Oh, wow, okay.
A lot of them. After you've beat them all, you'll be playing as an Octoling in the standard modes, in multiplayer.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to raise my hand and say they spent a little bit too much time on this one too, but I understand they had to set it to people, so I'm going to slowly back out.
Well, also think about Japan. This is going to be absolutely huge there.
Absolutely. Oh no, absolutely, it will.
With the attach rate of Splatoon 2 and Switches.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty impressive. They did do some updates for the ranking. I think it's now rank X, or sorry, let me do that like so on the screen. X. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how rank X is going to work, because currently you can get to S+, and then you can continuously rank up S+, and get a number added to it. So I'm not sure what's going to separate.
When you hit like S+ affinity, you go to rank X.
Maybe that's how it works. You go from S+ 99 to X. I don't know how you're going to jump. I feel it's not going to be that, though. But yeah, I mean, it's a big, meaty bit of content there, these 80 stages. And it does look like they're all particularly designed, like, it's not confirmed, but it looks like you're going to be given, like, a set weapon for this particular stage. And it's going to be based around that.
It sounds like a glorified tutorial, though.
Well, but these are all new levels, and there's 80 of them.
Yeah.
When they're giving you a specific weapon to use on a certain stage, is that just like if it's what you
No.
Not an old stage though. It's not like how the amiibos worked in the original game, where you'll replay one of these stages, but now you've got a roller.
No, and then also in the single player Splatoon 2, you were able to use different weapons. Well,
yes,
you can go back to them and use different weapons.
So they all had to be beatable by all the different weapons essentially. Where these are challenges which can be designed to be only completed by the unique properties of, because there's a lot of different weapons in Splatoon.
Yeah, but I'm saying if it's something you don't like using, yeah, you kind of force into using it. But I'll just think out loud.
True, but you could have some comparison to like a Zelda game sort of thing. I wasn't not really a big fan of hook shots, but they're going to make me use it at some point. Apart from Breath of the Wild, I guess.
No, I'm pretty happy that we're getting a good paid DLC portion on here, another single player, because I really, really enjoyed the improvements that they did to from Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 2 with its single player by rounding it out a little bit more and fleshing it out. And but also the fact that this kind of forces them to say, hey, if you want to play as the Octolings, you have to beat these stages, which is, I think, fair to it because it just gives the opportunity to be like, hey, don't ignore this. So try this out, whatever about. But, it's fine.
Yeah, and it's also going to be, there's going to be, I assume, ways to kind of alleviate any difficulty you come across. But I guess if you see an Octoling in a multiplayer match, there's a certain amount of work they've done.
Oh, yeah.
To get, to actually get that. I'm not sure costume is the right word. They did interestingly use the phrasing, oh, this character looks like an Octoling, opposed to saying is. So there might be something weird going on there.
Mm-hmm.
However, we smoothly transitioned from Splatoon and Inklings into a Smash Bros. Announcement. Quite a glorious, in my opinion, introduction to it. Where
a bait and switch.
Inkling turns around in a horrified state as it's looking at a huge, gigantic wall of fire in the shape of the Smash Bros. Logo. Mm-hmm. But yes, it was essentially just saying Smash Bros. Is coming to the Switch and Inklings will be included.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a little bit open whether this is going to be Colin's favorite port or a brand new game.
That's the thing, though, we kind of just need to speculate about because people were trying to point out, like, oh, it says after the 2018, which, by the way, if they have that logo, it says original game, and people were deciphering, like, oh, that means it's actually not a port original. Like, that's not the case, really, because original game was actually based on the original type of, like, Smash Brothers game. That's just part of its trademark. Mm-hmm. If I'm reading that right. Now, it's quite possible this could be a new game. It really could, because let me tell you.
Okay.
Because we live in a post, Xenoblade world right now, where we all thought Xenoblade Chronicles 2, when that was announced during the Nintendo Switch presentation in January 2017, we all, almost every single one of us said, that game's not coming out in 2017 because there's so much work to do with it and so much localization. And guess what had happened? It released worldwide in that December. Sure, it probably could have used a little bit more time in the oven, but
yes.
This is a who knows what they've been working on since then, because the last time a console Smash Brother game released was November 2014. Who knows what they've been working on since then? They could easily do that.
For some of it, at least.
I'm saying it's 50-50 that they probably, this is either an original game, new concept, or it's a deluxe version. That's where I'm ranging at. I was so steadfast when that thing came on. I was thinking it was going to be just a port, but no, I really, really do believe they are working hard to make this a new game. That's just my call.
Okay. For me, I don't understand why people freaked out over the Smash Bros. Announcement. I saw one person tweet like, "Oh, I can't believe Smash is going to come to the Switch." I was like, "What do you mean you can't believe Smash is going to?" Smash has come out for every single Nintendo console since.
No. I agree with you on that. I think.
I was like, are you bad? What's going on? Okay. Given the time frame, I know Harrison makes a very good point with Xenoblade 2, but I think given the time frame, given like the amount of work they put into the Wii U Smash. And how the Wii U sold, I feel like they're going to salvage the Wii U version. And they're going to put in, it'd be like a deluxe, it'd be a mix of like the 3DS and Wii U with added stuff. So I mean, for me, it'd be like an enhanced port. It's going to be a port of the Smash for Wii U with more stuff in it. I don't think they're going to do anything crazy with it. I'm just saying. I feel like it's going to be.
Characters, do you think? We know we've got at least one with the Inkling.
Well, if they're going to carry.
So,
if it is,
where's that line between port and new game, and in terms of fighting games?
I mean, if it runs on the same engine, it's the same game.
Fair enough.
That's how I see it. Which I think it will. Honestly, I think it will. I don't think. I don't think they're going to do anything too crazy. Yeah, it's going to be Smash.
I don't know. You may never know what Sakurai is capable of. I mean, he is a pro. We really don't know. It's all up there. I mean, we can speculate as much as we can. I mean, you think it's probably a port. I think again, I'm down the middle, even though I am leaning towards thinking I think this is going to be a new original title because we're in this world of the Switch where we get to a point where I can't remind myself of like we really haven't had delays in any games, and just the output has just been insane.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since they've been consolidating, ever since they consolidated their handheld and their console divisions into one. Mm-hmm. So, plus you have to realize too, Monolith Soft has helped up a lot of their development when it comes to either Breath of the Wild or even this, like with Smash Brothers. But one thing I do want to say though, when I was like watching the trailer, at first I was like kind of getting really agitated when they said like, why are they going to port Splatoon 1 to Switch? Because it started out almost like that. I was thinking like, why are they doing that? And then of course, Bait and Switch comes in, see Inkling Girl looking at her fate of like, oh wow, all these Nintendo characters are about to kick my butt right now. And also an observation we did see, Link was not in his green tunic in that shadowy figure. It was more in his champion's outfit. So I thought that was nice.
It's a skin. Link will still play the same.
It's a skin, but I think right now, well, here's the thing.
You never know. Breath of the Wild was a big change in Zelda. Maybe they will take that time
the biggest change was
how Link plays.
And this is something no one really brings up, but Breath of the Wild, Link was right-handed. So he's going to hold the Master Sword in his right hand.
I was thinking more like you could do like a lot of different things. Like you've got like even going from things like having like durability weapons. You could have in a genuine sense. You could have like
the Master Sword's going to break on you halfway through.
The Master Sword has to recharge. He has a bunch of different swords he can use, from like Guardian swords to different spears and other things. You could do lots of different stuff if you wanted to.
As Link is my main, if they do that, I'm not making him my main anymore.
Or maybe you could get an additional character. Maybe there's two. Well, an extra Link. Has already been 2 Links playable.
Can't be Link Overload though, right?
Well, I think with the outfit that he's wearing, I think
they can add some extra Fire Emblem characters at that point to balance it out.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I think it'll be a bit of a mix. I reckon it will run on the fundamentals of the Wii U game, but I think it's going to essentially be a new game in a sense. Like, I think it will use the same engine, but it'll be tweaked enough.
It will play differently. The definition of a new game, I think.
Well, no, I mean you can use it as a base. Like you don't have to build it from the ground up. Like if you take it doesn't have to play the same. Like they can still edit that engine and perfect it, as it were, tweak it, adjust it, make changes to it.
Yeah.
When you start adding characters and new modes, I think it gets a bit blurry when that's a new game or not.
Yeah, it also kind of depends.
I don't think you have to necessarily, get rid of all your code from the previous thing.
Well,
I think there is a difference from just bolting stuff on to actual fundamentally making changes.
I feel like when you play the game, you're like, this feels very much like the Wii U version, which is not a bad thing. The Wii U version was a good game. I just don't think they're going to add anything too crazy to it. It's just going to be a very... It's an enhanced port. It's not a direct port, but it's an enhanced port. It's a port, but it's got new stuff on it.
Now, is your reasoning because you just don't feel like the time is not the turnaround for the time?
The time frame is one thing. I know, like I said, Xenoblade 2 was made very quickly. We don't really know how long they were working on it, but and they said it could use more time in the oven, as it were. I feel like with Smash, they wouldn't risk that. They wouldn't release a semi-broken Smash game. I'm not saying Zero 2 was broken by any means, but it did need patching at some points. Yeah, I don't think they'll do that with Smash. I think they'll want to take their time with it. But which tells me that they want to take the Wii U version because that's pretty much was.
I mean, you have to look as far as development of what it was. It was really hard, especially even with in-house to develop for the Wii U. Here it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's possible. It is possible. I mean, but will I be mad if it's an enhanced port? Not at all. I get to play Smash. No, but I'm leaning towards it right now because we haven't seen.
I just like if it was a new game. I mean, it's still going to be Smash. I don't like. What do we want from a new Smash game that wasn't in the Wii U version?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always say it's like, difference between like Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, but it's mostly just like character updates.
Exactly, but that is
slightly different.
That is known as a true sequel. Like there were, a bunch of additions.
Well, I mean,
like you had like Super Street Fighter 4, and you had some other versions of 4.
Yes,
but I don't think there's much like upset in the community that 5 is a port.
No,
as it were.
Well, no, because the main thing, Street Fighter has a concurrent story going through it. So 4 has a story, and 5 continues that story. Yeah, it's a sequel. But yeah, Smash doesn't really have that, so you can really just get away with porting Smash at this point, and you'd be like, yeah, it's a Smash.
They were able to get away. They were able to get away with the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and look what happened with that. Its attach rate was quite huge after its first month, and it won DICE's Racing Game of the Year for the second time.
Yeah, I do wish though that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is not like we usually only get one Mario Kart per console cycle.
You hope it's not.
I'm kind of hoping it's not just to get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And that's it.
Well,
would you prefer a new Mario Kart, as it were, or like an extra set of DLC for 8 Deluxe, which would in theory obviously be cheaper?
It would, but I'd rather have a new Mario Kart. As in, take the Mario Kart 8 engine because it runs smooth as heck, but just give us new courses, new cups. Yeah, just give us Mario Kart. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Mario Kart 9 should be Mario Kart 8 engine, but tweak some things, give us new courses. I'll be happy with that. So,
I do want to say though, for I'll blow your mind here, whatever. As far as what the turnaround was for development for the shortest between Smash Brothers, the first one and Melee, 2 years, less than that. And what we got, and we didn't find out about that until E3 2001, and that released in December. This is almost in the same, and we're getting a Smash Brothers game here in 2018. Whether it's going to launch alongside the online service or a little bit after remains to be answered. But also, I think the reason why they kind of wanted to, out of all this direct of what we gotten out of here, whether it's big things like this, who knows what they're going to announce at E3? That's one thing to kind of look forward to. But also, does this mean that this coming E3, they're going to have a Smash Brothers Invitational to kind of blow the doors open on this?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
it'd be great.
I think we'll see it. Yes,
I mean, I'm always cautiously about anytime there's a release date. It's like this year, ever since Breath of the Wild, really. I mean, we'll see, but I hope we do see Smash this year. But we'll probably see it. We'll see it. We'll see something at E3. I think definitely.
I think again, like I said, we haven't really seen many delays at all from any of our games here from on Switch. I can maybe think of like 1 or 2.
Yeah, I'd say just wrap it as this whole direct. I do feel like this whole direct was mainly made for here's a bunch of release dates, and we're going to tease one big game at the end, and that's all it was, and everything else.
That's what that mini direct did, and that's what that mini direct did in January. It was like, hey, we realized there were some things missing. Here's some little gaps fit into here.
I kind of felt this could have been a mini direct.
I don't know. Much information out there.
For myself, as I kind of mentioned, like the Splatoon 2 news was pretty big news for me. That Octo expansion with 80 new stages. I almost feel like that's a new game in itself, just as much as I like that game. Or a deluxe version or whatever. But I mean, there's a lot of content there in theory. I've not played it yet. but it sounds like quite a lot. And yeah, yes, there are a lot of ports, but on the other side, there are a lot. There's a lot of a lot of games. Coming. A bunch of them I've not played. So that works for me. And yeah, overall, I thought this was pretty cool. I'm not trying to convince anybody here. I'm just giving my opinions. No, it's okay.
Your argument's not really great. I just wish third parties are something more. I kind of understand why. I understand why there are so many ports. I understand that a lot of third parties are kind of cautious still with the Switch. They're late coming to the Switch because of the whole Wii U situation. Wii U third party basically killed third parties. So like, if we're not going to jump on the Switch right away, now the Switch is a success. So like, oh, we need something on Switch. What's quick and easy? A port. Okay. I'm sure there's stuff in like third party in the works for the Switch. It's just there's so many games that have been released on other platforms already. It just doesn't look good for the Switch to have this many.
I disagree kind of wholeheartedly on that. It's not okay. You'll get a sense. Actually, I'm not going to get into that whole discussion about that. Like there will be people on the PS. Like I'm missing my words. The point is you're getting these games from these different demographics onto the Switch to get people on there.
Right.
Yes. Sure, I would like. There would be things like Call of Duties that would want to be put on here, which do sell. I mean, here's the thing: would you be upset if GTA 5 was announced for this? No. You know why? Because GTA 5 still sells like gangbusters right now.
Yeah, totally.
It still does.
And people would kill for a portable version they can take with them on the go. Absolutely.
Yeah, it still will do that. It's just these companies, which obviously just were very skeptical of the Switch right now, and they're just seeing its success after this past year.
Yep.
They're definitely wanting to flood these things that they can do. Obviously, we still have Wolfenstein: The New Colossus coming out, which I was surprised they didn't actually show a release date or anything on that. That was my big surprise. But I don't mind this. Yes, these are ports of games from a few months back, but the point is they're coming to the Switch.
Yeah.
These would never come to the Wii U ever. And the fact that we're getting them on here is just showing that the future is looking a little bit brighter for third parties to come here. And you know what? Even if we have like these very weird, obscure, unique third-party exclusives, for instance, Octopath Traveler or Travis Strikes Again, these are things that are coming here. So I can get why you're like, okay, the ports are not for me, but you have to realize there are people on here who are probably been exclusively Nintendo users that are getting these finally.
Yeah, no, I totally see that point, and I get the whole,
and that's fine. And that's fine if it's not your jam.
People will obviously go out and buy these ports. I just feel like if for these games, if people really wanted them, they would already play them by now. That's my thing. I feel like the delay between the original releases for these ports and when the Switch is getting them,
that didn't stop people with Doom.
True.
Yes. Well, we've yet to see the numbers. I think this is also a timing game, as you alluded to as well, Colin. That the initial reaction to Switch, the developers very hesitant because they didn't know whether it's going to be successful or not, and so nothing was in the pipeline.
Right.
And then they saw the success, and they go,
we need something out there first.
This is blowing up. We need something out there quick. We don't have anything in the pipeline. Port. We need to start working on ports.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that's the only thing they're working on. It might also be working on original games, but they don't get announced yet because these have only just come out. So in theory, those stuff we'll hear soon, maybe at E3 around that time, maybe a little bit afterwards.
Seriously, their E3 has to be pretty big. At least on the third party front, it has to be like, we got some big things coming. If
and I think this is a good foundation for that, which we never got on the Wii, really.
It's a start. That's what
I'm saying. A foundation for third parties to then start like surprising us. We're going, oh, we've got this new original game coming out. It's for Switch. Yeah. Pay us attention.
I just kind of feel like it's a little worrying. Like maybe because like you never know if third parties are like Dark Souls, for instance. Like are they just putting it on Switch to see how it sells and then they're going to go from there? Is a lot of these ports like touch and go kind of deals? That we don't know.
Is that a Yoshi reference?
Yeah, I think it.
No, but I'll take it. Anyway, yeah.
All right, I think that will do it.
I think
that was good enough. The Yoshi reference in particular, pat him on the back here. We have spent a lot of time. We have talked about a lot. It's been a pretty big podcast. It was a pretty, not as big direct by any means, but there was a pretty big Mario Tennis section in there, wasn't there, Colin? There was.
Yeah, all that glorious 5.5 minutes.
It felt like a freaking lifetime.
And that Splatoon section did drag on just a little. It was fun time though.
It was.
That's going to wrap up our Nintendo news and with it the show itself. But before you go, if you're not aware, if you're listening to us on audio only, we do also record these live on YouTube every week. So please do check us out there. Obviously, we have the archives there as well. That is youtube.com/Nintendo Voice. Please do like and subscribe and all the other lovely goodness. And also, if you enjoy the show, even more so, we have our own Patreon, patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. If you'd like to show us support, please do. It's much appreciated. It keeps the things running, keeps me alive.
Keeps you alive.
It keeps me alive. That's the line we're going with now. Before we go, we'll do our usual thing. We'll let you know how you can contact us. Maybe we can even exchange Switch friends without tedious numbers now. And anything else we've been working on. Harrison,
yeah,
you got to go first.
Well, you can reach me at Twitter. I was about to say something like you could reach me in my comments about Salty Colin. No, I kid. Anyway, you can reach me at Twitter at Milfeld, and if you want to become Switch friends, well, with the latest update, you can either find me through Twitter, through that option, or if you're not for some strange reason and that doesn't show up, you can my profile is pinned to the top of my profile. There you go, my friend code. Mess it up a little bit. How
about yourself, Colin?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at HarleyandBard, which is probably how you think it's spelled. Yeah, my friend code is there as well. It's just click on my profile. It's my pinned tweet. Profile you can also follow through the Twitter as well. You can find me streams. I stream every day on Mixer. You can see me having a meltdown right now on mixer.com/HarleyandBard. Just check out the video on demand on that. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Or myself, if you want to get hold of me, either for tweets or if you want to exchange friend codes now, I guess. The word you need is Luvsion, Luvsion. And a new one, as mentioned at the beginning of the show, I was taking some pictures on the holiday. Some were Switch related. I set up an Instagram account, and you can find that with the same name, which is the handy thing about that name.
It works everywhere.
It works everywhere. Please don't abuse the system. Lovely community. And that is going to do it for, what were we? Episode 131 of the Nintendo Voice podcast. And so thank you all once again for listening or watching. This has been Nintendo Voice.
Take care, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone.
Till next time.